the leader of the Democratic Alliance, really just to get a sense in terms of how the party is doing so far. Obviously, I mean, these elections are very competitive, you know, with so many newcomers really doing well. But let's hear how's the party doing. So thank you so much indeed, John, for your time. So far, what do you make of the performance by the DA?
Well, I think we've made a significant recovery from the last election, 20.9%, that 20.7% we got there. A lot of analysts had written the DA off. They predicted we're going to get between 16 and 19%. I think we've shown that we are resilient, that we're well on the path to recovery. We've been able to hold on to governments around the country as well as win some new governments. Obviously, there's some areas where there's some cause for introspection, places like Joburg, some of the rural areas of the Western Cape, and obviously we'll be looking at those to see what we can do there. I still think that we now move into the next phase, which is coalitions, and who's going to be able to put together coalitions to be able to govern in many of these places. There's a lot of municipalities that are hung. For me, the big takeaway, ANC below 50%, sets the scene now for 2024. It can be done, and I think that's going to have to be the goal coming out of this election, full steam ahead for 2024.
So, John, a buzzword, the coalition, and obviously as Democratic Alliance, when you started your campaign, you said you wanted outright majority. So far, are you eyeing any particular partners where you may have these marriages, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been clear from the beginning that we're willing to talk to any party that shares the values and principles of the DA and with whom we can put together a program of action to act in the best interests of that municipality. So I'm sure that as the day proceeds today and as we go into the remainder of the week, those formal talks will start to happen between parties as we start to get a final sense of where things lie. But we're open. I mean, we would like majorities where we've governed and where we've campaigned. And you always go out to campaign for the score, to get the top score. If you don't get that, you obviously look at the second position, which is coalitions, and we will try and make these work in the interests of keeping the ANC out of government and ensuring that many of those towns and cities have governments that are going to serve them over the next 5 years.
All right, John, thank you so much indeed for your time. So quite a very optimistic leader of the Democratic Alliance. So we'll try and get as many parties as possible, Desiree. So now let's hear from Al Jama, I mean, one of the small parties. So thank you so much indeed for your time, Advocate. So far, what do you make of your performance?
Well, it's not what we expected. I mean, considering the voter turnout, that was a disappointment, but also we are very disappointed in the way IEC handled the whole voting processes, etc. Because what we found in our personally, I was witness to it, is many voters that were turned away from places where they were actually registered and where they had voted previously on many occasions. Young people were robbed of their votes this time around because they were registered, but their names were not appearing on the voters list. MEC 7 forms was not available at many voting stations, which is a grave concern. And the parties are actually discussing this, and especially the smaller parties, because they know of the people that was going to vote for them that couldn't vote, and we were advised as such. However, as a small party, I think we've made lots of inroads. We've won Harding and we've got Lenasia as well. And we've actually tripled our votes in the Lenasia area, and we're super proud of our councillor Imran Musa, as well as Khumalo, and the Harding area as well. So we are doing inroads, and we're actually showing people what service delivery is about. It's one thing to win votes, one thing to win wards, but if you're not doing the work, then your system is flawed. And I think that is what our country is saying, and our citizens are saying, if you look at the percentage who actually didn't come out to vote.
And quite a very central role that small parties are playing, because with the coalition politics really becoming a key feature in our political landscape, as Al Jama, are you perhaps in talks? Are you looking at certain partners?
There's certain parties that we would not be in talks with. I'm sure you know which ones those are. But yes, there are talks happening, but not yet, because I think we're waiting until tomorrow when we know the final results and then make decisions, because nothing is going to be for nothing. I think Al Jama is not about coalition. We are about co-governance. Our country has seen corruption, fraud, and lack of transparency and lack of service delivery. So with co-governance, we would be able to keep each other accountable. And I think that is the way we're moving towards.
All right, so thank you so much indeed for your time. So, Desiree, if time does allow us, we're going to try and speak to the IFP happy. I mean, the party has done tremendously well in KwaZulu-Natal because they've been able to clinch some municipalities. Obviously, their stronghold in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal. So let's get a sense from the party spokesperson, Mr. Hlengwa. So once again, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. Just your fleeting reaction to your performance briefly.
Well, we are quite humbled by the trust that has been placed in us by the electorate, and we want to thank the people who actually voted for us. We ran a very tight ship campaign, grassroots based, and the leadership was very active. And we presented a credible plan, a track record of service delivery, and a 10-point plan in our manifesto, which gave confidence to South Africans that we knew what we were doing. And you will see the fact that the municipalities that we governed before these elections have all come back because the people know what we have done, and that has extended to other municipalities as well where we didn't govern. So we come out of these elections stronger and better for the future. But most importantly, we understand the burden of responsibility, that there is an urgency for service delivery and the improvement of the lives of the people. So all in all, a very good performance on the part of the IFP, and we are quite happy at the trend of the result. I'm speaking of a party that is definitely growing.
All right, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. So in the interest of time, we're going to leave it there. So, but also, Desiree, I can tell you this much. I spotted the lead of ActionSA. So in a matter of few minutes, they will have a press briefing. We know that their top structure had a meeting last night where they'll be announcing potential candidates, so to speak, in their marriage of convenience, since the coalition politics has become quite a prominent feature in these elections.
That's definitely one to look out for, and they've done really well for themselves, especially when you look at numbers in the city of Johannesburg. ActionSA, that is. Let's just take the conversation